Street Soldiers Radio is the voice of the Alive and Free movement, preventing violence worldwide.
Alive and Free Radio right here on Street Soldiers. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Are there too many guns on the street?
Yes.
Yes. So, Street Soldiers, Alive and Free Radio wants to get as many as we can off the street. And I'll pay you for it. Yes, I will pay you money for your gun. I will do that. I will do that. In fact, not only will I do it, I'm teaming up. I, as a executive director of Omega Boys Club, am teaming up with a fellow community organization in Oakland, California, Youth Uprising. And next Saturday, if you bring your gun, there are conditions. I'm going to elaborate the conditions in a minute. If you bring your gun to a couple of locations, one in Oakland, one in San Francisco, I will give you money for your gun. So if you are strapped for cash, just give me your piece, and I give you the cash. And joining me on the Alive and Free Street Soldier line, let's go to line 2 and pull up. I've just met him on email, so I don't want to say his name. I assume it's him, maybe him. Sikanda, right? Seek, is that what they say? You there?
How you doing that, Dr. Marshall? Yeah.
How are you? Now say your name for me, because I've only seen an email. I haven't talked to you. Dre's been handling everything. Say it for me.
My name's Sikander, but everybody calls me Sick.
That's what I thought. Sick. All right. We've been working on this a while. And let me just tell you, because it was actually Youth Uprising that approached Omega Boys Club about doing this. How did it come about? What were the thoughts? And then we'll get into the details.
Okay. We were approached by a couple partners from out here, so I know you're familiar with them as well. Keith Stevenson and Oakland Police Department, and they talked to us about our interest in being able to host a gun buyback as a nonprofit organization in Oakland, California. That's really where it all started. And as you were contacted not too long after the initial conversation, so once we figured out some of the basic logistics and decided that it'd be dope to do a regional thing, we reached out to yourself in San Francisco to see if you'd like to join us in doing this regional effort, especially because right about now is when we, in Oakland, San Francisco, and even Richmond, we're hoping to get Richmond on board at some point. Maybe if not now, then in the future, because we see a peak of violence around these times, heavily in part due to the holiday season that comes around, and people feeling tight, the economic downturn and everything, and people needing to get their hands on some extra money. And so we're just hoping we could help deter some of that violence by offering people alternatives to having to utilize their weapons to try and make up for some of the tightness that they're feeling around this time of the year.
Give up your gun for cash. It's not the first time it's ever been done, but it's anytime you do it, it's a really good thing. So we'll go through the logistics. Sick. We're gonna do it on both sides of the bay. Yeah, we're going to do it in. Why don't you talk about where it's going to happen in Oakland? And by the way, I just want to let everybody know this effort is being supported by the Oakland Police Department and the San Francisco Police Department. And so you go through what's going to happen in Oakland. I'll go through what's going to happen in San Francisco. And then after we do our two pieces, we do have representatives from both law enforcement agencies on the line also, and we'll bring them in. So why don't you talk about what's happening in Oakland?
Okay, so on December 15th, so I know it's the same date and time as San Francisco because we're doing it as a joint effort. So December 15th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., we're going to set up shop over at St. Benedict Church over on 82nd and Bancroft, 82nd Avenue in Bancroft, and we'll be coordinating having people come up, and they'll have to bring your weapons. So it's going to be open to Oakland residents only in Oakland. And so we'll be doing proof of residency checks. So all the Youth Uprising staff and folks from CEO are going to be supporting that, because I know that people tend to have a distrust of police officers and the police department. So we're trying to be able to do what we can to let people know that this is not some sting operation. It's not anything that to worry about. I mean, we're sincerely interested in just getting guns off the street for this holiday season. And so we'll be checking all the proof of residencies, and we're asking people to bring something, an ID, a driver's license, a cell phone bill, anything they can that verifies that they're an Oakland resident. You can bring up to 3 firearms and get $200 for each of the 3 firearms.
Woo!
If you have more, right, so you can get up to $600 to turn in your firearms. If you want to turn in more firearms because you just want to get rid of them or help get them off the streets, you're welcome to turn in as many as you like, but you'd only receive $200 for up to 3. So anything you turn in after that, you'd just be turning in for the safety of the citizens of Oakland. We'll also be checking to make sure that the firearms are in working condition, and all firearms, we're asking people to bring them, to have them unloaded and transported in the trunk of their vehicles, separated from the ammunition of the pistol.
Definitely unloaded. Now let me just tell everybody, I know people are wondering about, remember, bring my gun, they going to mess with me. No, it is anonymous. There will not be any attempts to record or document any personal information of people turning in firearms. The one in Oakland is only open to Oakland residents. Okay, you got to bring proof of Oakland residency. You heard Sick talk about how much you would get 3 firearms, a maximum of $600. That's not Brad Christmas or holiday spending money. The firearms must be in working condition to qualify for the buyback, and all firearms must be, please, unloaded and transported in the trunk of residents' vehicles. And let me just say, they will not be checking for warrants. And that should make all you knucklehead, folks out there with guns feel good. I don't like people who carry guns. I don't mean to slant anybody, but you're getting some money. They will not be checking for warrants. You heard that right here on the Live and Free Radio on Street Soldiers. Irvin, you want to say something?
Yes. How do they show proof of residency without giving up that personal information of who you are? If it's
you got it. Whether it says, all right, let's see, proof of residency is it's California ID, driver's license, cell phone bill, that kind of thing. Yeah. Okay. Well, you got it. You got to show proof of residency somewhere.
It sounds like the question is if it's not going to be anything more than just showing your ID.
Okay.
It's not like they're going to be documenting gun number 1 came from person number 2 who lives at this address. Okay. It's not going to be like that.
I just wanted that kind of question.
Okay. In fact, just to make sure, why don't we clue in the folks from we got the Oakland. If we
what
can
if
hold
all they have
right
is a school
now,
ID?
We got.
What if all they have is a school ID? Because
well,
that's a reality.
Let's see if that we'll find out if that will be taken. Let's go to I think line 5. Let's pull in Captain Joyner from the Oakland Police Department. Captain Joyner, thanks for joining us.
Hey, good evening. Thanks for having me on your show. I'm a big fan. How are you today?
Oh, wow. Now, I feel protected when the police are a big fan of the Live and Free Radio Street Soldiers. Thank you very much. Did we get that right? I mean, everything that we said, the conditions of the buyback in Oakland, anonymous, no attempt to record any personal information. Let's see, proof of residency, ID, driver's license, cell phone bill. The Irvin just asked if a school ID or something like that is possible to prove. Proof of residence. Only Oakland residents. Firearms must be in working conditions to qualify for the buyback. All firearms must be unloaded and transported in the trunk of residents' vehicles and will not be checking for warrants. Is that all accurate?
Yeah, that is all accurate. The message I want to make sure to convey that's very important is threefold. Number one, we've had way too much gun violence here in the city of Oakland as well as San Francisco. And as a law enforcement professional for the last 21 years, I feel it's my obligation to do something about it. Which brings me to my second point, which the police department can't solve all ills of the community. We have to have joint collaborations. And that's why I'm so excited about this collaboration with Youth Uprising. This isn't our first project together. We've done many, many things together. This is just one of some of the things we're trying to do. So collaborations are very important. And then lastly, our word is everything. So in partnering with Youth Uprising, they have a reputation of uphold as well as the police department. So how we're going to run our program is once someone from Youth Uprising verifies the information or legitimacy of a person being an Oakland resident, as we just described, then the police will recover the gun. They will receive the funds, and there will be no memorialization of any of that other than the fact that this person received X amount of money for X amount of guns. We're not trying to conduct any type of secret investigation. This is really a situation where we're trying to get the guns that are on the street, killing our youth, killing our citizens of Oakland off of the streets and out of the hands of people. And keep in mind, I encourage people who have guns who aren't involved in crime. They just have guns stored in their house and they want to get rid of them. They can bring those guns in too, because what I've seen in my law enforcement career is these guns end up being guns taken in burglaries and then oftentimes used on the streets for robberies and shootings. So we're interested in getting all the guns we possibly can. This isn't just a cry out to people who are involved in violent crime, but it's a cry out to anyone who has a firearm and does not want it to end up in the wrong hands.
Well said, well said, well said, Captain Joyner. Let me just, for a minute, just switch to what's happening in San Francisco. I want to make sure that is correct also. Let me put you on hold just for a moment. I'm going to switch to Deputy Chief Mike Beal, who is on line 3, who is in the city of San Francisco. Deputy Chief Beal, how are you?
Well, good evening, Dr. Marshall. Thank you very much for having me on your show.
So I'm going to read the conditions here that I know is happening in San Francisco. I want to make sure that it is also correct. We're going to put out the correct information right here. All right. The one in San Francisco will happen at the same time, 10 p.m. to 3 p.m., December 15th. That's next Saturday. And the gun buyback will occur at the Omega Boys Club, 1060 Tennessee Street. No questions asked. Probation or parole, no problem. The gun back is anonymous. No attempts, same conditions, to record or document any personal information of people turning in firearms. The one in San Francisco is open to only, of course, the San Francisco residents. All right? You got to bring proof of San Francisco residency, ID, driver's license. Yeah, we'll take a cell phone bill. Same conditions. Residents will receive $300 per firearm, up to 3 firearms. They must be in working condition to qualify for the buyback. Must be unloaded and transported in the trunk of residents' vehicles, and there will be no warrants checked. Is that correct?
Dr. Marshall, I think you said $300 per firearm. It's $200 per firearm.
Oh, no, let me get this straight, because I ain't got no money. We got a lot of money. People get mad at me because I'm moving my money. No, it's $200. For a firearm, up to 3, which would make a total of $600 is the most that you could get.
Exactly.
Right.
Captain Joyner said it very well. I can't put it any better. This is about the police and the community coming together to get these weapons off the street. Anytime that we can do that, any guns in the wrong hands are dangerous. We don't want people getting hurt, especially this time of the year when families are all closed in together. And as I said earlier, in these economic times, sometimes the gun violence can get out of control, and also street robbery. So I would like to reach out to the community to work with us. I have some of my officers there at the Omega Boys Club. We're not going to be checking any IDs there. The officers strictly are there to make sure that everything is safe, that the guns are rendered safe, and that they are taken and destroyed.
I get them in my hands. I give them the money. I give them to you. That's the way it goes. All right, citizens, residents of San Francisco, citizens, residents of Oakland, you got a chance. Get rid of those guns. You will get paid to give up your gun. That's not a bad thing during this holiday season. I want to, Captain Joyner, I want to thank you very much. Deputy Chief Beal, SFPD, want to thank you very much.
Street Soldiers Radio is the voice of the Alive and Free movement, preventing violence worldwide.